Good evening. Long time no see. Apologies. I was going to start at 7 o'clock on the dot, and I was ready and raring to go. And I started the live, started chatting, and realized I was on my personal account and not on the show account, right? So that's how long it's been. How's it going? All right. So the Composite, I'll do our little spiel because it's been a while. We are a hodgepodge of a talk show, and we just talk about shit because I'm an English teacher who likes to talk trash. All right. And life has been lifing. So like I said, it's just been a while. But guess what? I made it through the week. So we're celebrating right now. Now, I am outside. I figured go ahead and let the sun set on this Friday. And this is my first, patio podcast from my new apartment, which is in the same area. It's just a cheaper one. Yeah, hold on a second. Let me show you my new digs. And by that I mean maybe 4 blocks from where I was living before. Okay, so I don't know if you see it. Oh, wait, hold on a second. I could, Deanne, just do this. I was literally turning the whole thing around. I'm special. All right, unmanicured foot out of the way. All right, so this is what we got going on here. Tons of green space, right? And a parking lot and my bikes. So I like this part of the complex a little bit better. It's closer to the pool that I haven't been in because I don't want to put on a bathing suit at this point. Maybe next spring. Give me a little time to work on it. And it's closer to the bus stop. It's closer to the management company, closer to the mailboxes, outgoing mailboxes and stuff. So, this part of it is decent. I'm still trying to work some stuff out personally. If you have watched any previous episodes, I'm sure you've heard me complain about my epic commute. I commute hours and hours each way to work right now. So that's the situation that I am currently actively trying to alleviate. And it's like when I want to do the Composite, when I want to do the show, I'm like, okay, do I broadcast at 5 p.m. from the E train, or do I broadcast at, let's say, 6:30 or 7 from the New Jersey Transit? So I haven't pulled the trigger on that yet. But it might happen next week. Stay tuned. Life is wild, right? So speaking of that, right? So one reason why you haven't seen me broadcast from like Penn Station or on the train and stuff is I am, and I shouldn't be, but I'm shocked about the shit that people are discussing on speakerphone on public transportation. Like, you're straight up in a bus sitting next to somebody has their phone like this, and they're talking to their friends, talking shit, okay? So, I didn't think I was going to tell these stories, but I shall. Now, the first one is from Wednesday, right? And the second one is from Thursday. So for the last 2 days, as I'm standing there about to give up hope because I'm so distraught about how tired I am about going back and forth, the funniest shit happened. All right, so Wednesday, what was I on when she said that? Oh yes, I was on the SEPTA. So if you're not familiar with the SEPTA is the Southeastern Pennsylvania Transportation Authority, and so I'm on the train and we're headed back to Philly. So the woman has her phone like this and she's talking to her friend about another friend. And she's like, yeah, my friend was fighting with her man. She didn't say man. She said the N-word. But she was like, yeah, she fighting with her man. And it was really bad. It got so bad. He was just like, you know what? You're a fucking clown. And she said, her friend said that the woman, like her response was, if I'm a clown, you're the red balloon I walk with. I was so done. I have to find a way to use that. I need to work it into a story, a monologue, something. If I'm a clown, or I'm paraphrasing, I don't think that they had the direct like SAT analogy form that I'm using right now. Like it wasn't like, you know, me is to you as clown is to balloon. It wasn't like that. But, you know, I have to figure out how to phrase that so I can use it. If I'm a clown, you are the red balloon. That was Wednesday. Thursday was remarkable. Funny, but also really sad. And then I'll comment on the phone element because I'm really to the point with phones. Hold on a second. I don't want to say something hyperbolic. I'll come back to that. Anyway, so on Thursday, you know, on either end, no, not on either end. So basically, like either way, if I'm going to work or if I'm, you know, commuting back, I technically, unless I leave before 4 a.m., which I do, I have to rely on the bus. And so on the New York side, you know, where I work in Queens, it's the bus service is terrible because it's like, you know how crowded it is in Queens, the area of Queens, like that stretch between whether it's Flushing or Jamaica is so busy over there, y'all. And then they send the buses and the buses are full in like 5 seconds. Or, you know, or they wait so long, like it's just, if you're waiting for people to pile up for 45 minutes, it's just, come on. But anyway, so it was really bad yesterday in terms of how crowded the bus was. And I had stayed at work. I left work earlier than I had the first two weeks of school. Like I left an hour earlier. So I was proud of myself because I was, you know, staying later. So I left earlier, but I still left an hour technically past when I was supposed to. And so what's happening at 4:30 p.m.? High school let out. And so this group, it was like 8 high school boys. And it's just, they were so obnoxious. And I was standing next to a woman, an older woman, well, at least older than me, shit. And we're looking at each other and I'm like, listen, I'm a teacher. I basically deal with this shit all day, and now I'm standing next to it on the bus. I said, I have to leave work earlier. I can't keep doing this. So they're going back and forth to the point where other passengers on the bus are getting frustrated. The bus driver is about to stop driving, like he's done. So this one woman, you know, very professional, black woman, you know, she's got a very, like, a conservative, you know, like she's got the blouse with, I believe, what's called the pussy bow. She's got her bow, her blouse, her cardigan and everything. So she's, you know, dressed. But the conversation that she's having is keeping it gangster. She's talking to her friend and she's like, these fucking kids on this fucking bus, and they won't step to the back, and if I have to make them step to the back, it's gonna be a problem. And I'm like, oh. So those young men, you know, eventually got off at their stop, but then I think the bus stopped near a private school, and a young man got on, and I don't know what he did. He bumped into her or something. She was done. The young boy, right, he's on, and when I say young boy, I'm thinking he's probably like 14, 15. he was on speakerphone with his friend. So he bumps into the professional woman, and she's like, excuse you. So he's on his phone, right? Wait. Let me work on my instrument here. All right, I'm going to try to do a reenactment. So the young man is on his phone, and he's like, oh my God, I hate people, because he and the woman bumped into each other. And the woman is like, I hate these fucking overprivileged kids, right? He wants to keep it Queens. I'm about to take this shit to Brooklyn. Do you know, for the next 15 minutes, they were basically arguing with each other on speakerphone with other people. This shit is wild. I've never seen any shit like that, where you're passive aggressively arguing with someone and you're both on speakerphone, and they just did that the whole time. I said, what? And you know, what a fascinating moment to be alive, okay? Because we don't directly deal with anything or anyone anymore. And I don't know how much longer that can continue, but that was fascinating. That's something else I have to figure out how to immortalize on the page. So, and sorry, my lips are ashy or crusty. Sorry. I wasn't too prepped today. I'm just thankful I'm awake, and that nothing's aching, nothing's broken, inflamed. I said, no, they didn't. This woman is arguing with a high schooler, and they're both on speakerphone, arguing through their friends. I've never seen that. But, you know, just the phone stuff in general, like, I'm going to actually bring a book with me to work next week, and I'm going to see how that works. I haven't done that in, you know, I don't even know, months and months and months. So I've been doing this long commute, if you haven't seen the show, since September 23, but I was driving. I sold my car in May of this year, so June, July, August, September. July doesn't really count as much because I was going into the city if I had to, but I wasn't really working. But yeah, so it was like, let's say 3.5 months. But I mean, the issue with me is that, like, reading is so sumptuous, you know, and it's like, I'm a slow reader. I reread passages. I write, you know, whole manifestos in the margin. I'm really like, you know, I'm a little too precious about it, honestly, but I mean, that's just where I live. That's where I go. And so the reason that I usually don't bring a book, which might sound counterintuitive, is that, like, if I bring a book and then I end up standing on the New Jersey Transit for 2.5 hours, I'm fucking pissed, because then I'm like, I brought a book and I wanted to have fun reading this book and I can't read it. And so anytime that happens, that really messes with my headspace. So I'm like, well, let me not even have the anticipation or the expectation that I'm gonna get any goddamn reading done at all. Now I do occasionally use my Kindle app, and you know, I'll read articles, so I don't want to make it sound like I'm not reading. Like, I'll read student work, I'll read on a screen. But for reading that I really want to enjoy or get something out of, it has to be a book, and like a physical book. And it's like, you know, to carry the extra weight of that with everything else that I'm carrying across 3 states and then not be able to get to it is infuriating. And so why am I spending time talking about this random topic? I will be bringing a book next week because my phone dies occasionally because I'm out for so long. And, I'm figuring out, tricks in terms of like, oh, when should I charge it so it lasts me, X amount of time and everything. But, sometimes I'm just like, I've gone to the end of the internet. Like, there's really nothing else to see there. And so I'm just kind of looking around. I mean, I'm looking out the window, looking at the scenery, looking at people commuting, listening to people talk about clouds and red balloons. So I just want to listen and absorb. And everyone's so dead inside. Like, there's life happening, but it's pretty soulless, because pretty much everyone is on their phone. And if they're not on their phone, this is like, so, this will be like the rail, and people are just like nothing. And I'm a native New Yorker, so I know that we're known as, very gruff. We don't smile, so on and so forth. But this is something different, y'all. Like, it used to be where at least like you would occasionally, somebody would smile or nod or something, or just look like they're not ready to like hack you with a machete. And everybody now either looks, like I said, dead inside, or they're about to hack you with a machete. And I don't know how much longer that continues. And I don't want that to be my reality. I don't want to participate in it. So I'm going to start bringing a book to work starting Monday. And I'm not going to be on my phone unless, like, in this emergency or something, if somebody calls me. I'm going to read. I'm going to fucking read. And I'll let you know how it goes. Unless I end up standing and squished on the Q30 or the E or the F or the New Jersey Transits. SEPTA is pretty good in terms of like being able to get a seat. But it also feels like SEPTA people have the least amount of faith in that transportation system. So maybe that's why it's not as full, because it's underutilized. I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm kind of at the point where, like, once I can get myself stable financially, like, I don't know if I even want a phone, because it's like, I don't have a car, right? So I don't need the GPS. I can just use the bus schedule. I can actually, start to navigate again, which I had to do before I got a phone. It's just, I don't like what I'm seeing. I feel as if, and then they find newer and newer ways to make you more and more dependent on it. It's like every fucking thing has an app. Your doctor wants you to use the app. You go to, a restaurant. Oh, scan this, use the app. Even, the MTA, they're making it, so the, transit system in New York, you guys, they're in the process of slowly switching over from the Metro card to this thing called Omni, which I don't even know what it is. And I'm, get off my lawn, because it's like, I'm old enough to remember when they had tokens, when you used to have to put tokens in the machine, all right, in the turnstile to get through. So, I am very, wedded to the concept of Metro cards, but Metro cards, they're making it so it's like there are disadvantages to using Metro cards. They're getting rid of the refill machines, and a lot of the times the refill machines don't work. So if there's only one refill machine and there are like 25 people waiting for it, they're making it like so you don't want to use it. So what do? So then you swipe your debit card, or you swipe this thing called the Omni. And I'm like, well, isn't that some shit? Because didn't somebody just steal all of our social security numbers? And now in New York City, of all places, you've got me out here like a jackass, swiping my debit card. Like, you know, I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm going off onto random things. But, and it's definitely not that, because I just cracked that open right before I got on. So, completely sober, okay? But I'm just kind of like, all right, so you want me to use the transportation app to then give you access to what? That's all it is about giving people more access to your shit, to information about you. And I'm kind of done. I'm increasingly getting to a point of I guess for me, in terms of what I thought my adulthood would be, in terms of what I thought society would be, and the massive gap between those two things, the cynicism that I've been living in is just, it's crushing. And so I went through a lot of anger and a lot of intense grief. It's just like, if my younger self, it's like, and I say that to my friends all the time, if I was like, if I had known this is what this shit was going to be, the 15-year-old me, the 20-year-old me, the 25-year-old me would have made so many different choices. I would have had fun for once in my sappy life. Because I have not been having fun. But all of that being said, I'm moving out of a phase of anger and grief, bitterness and cynicism, and moving into a phase of non-compliance. And so sometimes, like, I'll have, let's say, 25, 30-minute stretches where I'm like, here's something that we're forced to do as a society. If I did not want to participate in this thing, what would that look like? And I'm finding that I have that thought to myself increasingly more frequently. Now, does anybody really care if I have a phone or not? No. But I know, right? I'll know that I don't have one and that I'm not participating in the bullshit. Because, yes, there are many things that we can do with our devices. Yes, it's a tablet, it's not a phone. But there are many wonderful things we can do with them. But I think at this point, the negative effects on our socialization and on our cohesion as a society, I don't think it's worth it. The deleterious effects of, screen time on kids alone, right, for their educational attainment, that alone is reason enough to, like, not get into phones. But yeah. So that to me would be like a treat if I got to the point where, oh, I'm so secure, like, I don't have to, like, worry about, which bill collector or whoever is calling. I can just go to work, or I can just run errands and then come home and freaking check voicemail, because I don't like this shit. I hate it. I hate always just having to be like, oh, what's happening? Or, because, I've had some financial things that I'm dealing with, like just doom scrolling all the time. And, as a way to, like, check out. And I want to be more mindful, more demure, right, about that. So, other things. Yeah, I did not check out the news. I did not watch that debate. What the fuck are they debating? How do I phrase this? What actual material difference is there between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump? I'm fucking serious. I'm not talking about delivery, and I'm not talking about rhetoric. I'm talking about a tangible material difference between the goals of each of their, hopeful administrations. You're still supporting the same wars and the same defense contractors and the same pharmaceutical companies and the same banks. It's the same thing. The only thing, Trump is going to give them more tax cuts, right? And what would Harris do more of? More bailouts, I think, right? Like if the market crashes out under Harris, I think she would do more bailouts. Which is a weird thing to say, but the business community, they really like her. So, and she let Steve Mnuchin off, so yeah, she would do more bailouts. But so, is that really a difference, right? Oh, Trump gives them the money on the front end, she gives them the money on the back end. Who cares? That doesn't mean I don't care about democracy or I don't care about my country. But the couple of quotables that people have come out with, it's ridiculous. And it feels orchestrated. It feels like a good cop, bad cop. And it's like, okay, I'm going to pretend to be, dignified and pretend to be the last vestiges of democracy. And you're going to pretend, well, he's not really pretending, but you're going to pretend to be unhinged and totally misdirect people. A concept of a plan, this asinine thing about Haitian people eating cats, so on and so forth. It's theater. As soon as this election is over, they're sending troops to Ukraine. They're sending, backup to Israel, Gaza. Like, this is such a circus, and if Harris was who she's pretending to be, she would just tell him to his face. She would tell Donald Trump to his face that I'm not responding to your clownery, speaking of clowns, your clownery anymore. We have serious business to take care of in this country, and if you are not with the serious business of this nation, you need to walk off the stage. And she should have kept saying that in different ways and paraphrasing it until he left, or until he came up with a goddamn concept of a plan. But no, she likes that culture war bullshit. The Democrats love it. Because then it's like, oh, we don't really have to talk about the shit our current administration is not doing, the things that we're never going to do, the ways in which we play with people's lives. So, there it is with it. I do want to get caught up on current events, but that's probably not going to happen until I get out of survival mode, which... I'm working on it, but I've still got another, let's say, 2 weeks to a month of this. 5 hours one way in the morning, 5 hours one way in the evening, and then I teach online on Fridays. So, like I said, I'm just trying to find a way to get some assistance or to figure out, like, how I either got to live closer or I've got to be at another place of employment. So stay tuned. I don't know what's going on. I've got to figure it out. All right, so I'm going to wrap up the episode because the sun has gone down. Check that out. See how that happened? Now, if you have seen the show before, you know what I'm about to do. I like to wrap up with a couple of poems because poetry is beautiful and it heals your soul. It has the potential to. I want to start reading from fiction and creative nonfiction, but that's a little more challenging because, an excerpt, like, how do you set that up in this venue, in this format? But with that being said, the Poetry Foundation. Let's see what their poem of the day is. Sorry, it's loading a little slow here. Oh, here it is. I hate when people change their website because it's like the poem of the day used to be at the top of the page and now it's at the bottom. Like, just leave shit where it is. Okay. Gotta love middle-aged complaining. It's awesome. All right. Okay. Check out what this poem is called. This poem is called Positivity. Oh, shit. Oh, snap. Okay, thank you. Yeah, my ancestors are like, okay, we're tired of hearing you bitch and moan. Okay, I get it. Thank you. All right. Positivity by the poet D.A. Powell. Okay? Anyway, it isn't forever, Chris said. Eventually you're dead. And we laughed. Besides, everything is better now. Not us, but implants, blenders, children, heart attacks. There's never been a better time to be alive than when you are. If you are. Black-throated blue warbler says, choo, 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 drawing the last chew out like a sucking drain pipe to say he has mated and is satisfied. Say what you want about that. His joy is uncontainable. And yet it has a form, a measure to make it clear he's not upset or feeling anxious. And if he's bragging, well, it's no shame to brag that you're happy. Honeybees cavorting on the goldenrod are working toward a common goal they'll never see achieved. They lay down the walls of their cathedral of the honeycomb and will not cope the spire, busy in the present task. Trusting that the work continues, I'd like to write a children's book called Everybody Dies. Upbeat, of course, and pragmatic. You only got so many days. Don't think about death. When you're ready, death will think about you. Go out tonight with your friends, like Chris, who went out, big or not at all. Have a ball. Plan ahead. I like that. That's Positivity by D.A. Powell. All right. And before we wrap up, In the Dark, our last poem here is from poets.org. Okay. And this one, hold on. This one is by Ray Armantrout, and it's called Skill Sets. Skill Sets. 1. In the first cartoons, the mutability of forms was a laugh riot. Bouncing biceps. 1 foot grows huge to stomp a cricket and staying that way. The eye's first finger. 2. It's one thing to rate pains on a number scale, another to judge them qualitatively. Aching, stinging or burning. Only we can do this. No matter how. That was a weird emphasis. Let me start that stanza again. 2. It's one thing to rate pains on a number scale, another to judge them qualitatively. Aching, stinging, or burning. Only we can do this, no matter how many feedback loops they put into the machines. 3. Be specific, including kinks and ticks, a good twinge in the roots, when the brush is pulled hard through time's tangled mess. Here's the catch. You can't know you're in a costume and also be serious. Wow. Those were good ones, okay? And they match tonally. I really believe that there's a level of kismet or serendipity when I hop on here, because pretty much every single time, folks, the poem matches up with what I'm talking about. And I don't pull the poem before I do the show because, it's just whatever poem they have up there. So I guess that's cool how that happens. Although I have a feeling I was being chastised this evening. All right. Anyway, we're going to wrap up. So this has been the Composite, season 4, episode 15. I'm not sure when I'll go live again. It's either going to be Saturday or Sunday or Tuesday. So that's a lot of variation. But it will be soon because I want to end the seasons out with a few episodes. And then we'll take an official break as opposed to the accidental breaks that I've been taking off and on for the last couple of months. Okay? So if you do watch the playback of this, thank you so much for patronizing our little project here. We like it a lot. All right? This has been the Composite. I'm still Deanne Battle. You have a great Friday night.